Good morning, watch people. About a year ago I sold my Glycine Airman. It was a cream dial purist with a 42mm case. I adored that watch, apart from the fact I felt it was too large for my wrist. I also found the 24-hour dial a little bit confusing, as I only wore it about once a month. Of course, if I'd worn it more regularly, I would have got used to it, then it wouldn't have been an issue. I bought the watch from Joma's shop for a bargain price and ended up selling it for less than I should have. I wanted to replace it with something smaller with a 12-hour dial, but obtaining something at a reasonable price became quite a challenge, until a watch buddy of mine offered me this. Now Glycine, a very old Swiss brand, but were taken over by Invicta a few years ago. Some people believe this may have made a difference in their quality of watches. I believe that's complete nonsense. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the Glycine Airman Double 12. So on with the dimensions. Well, the case is 40mm, the lug width is 22mm, the depth is 12.5mm and the lug to lug is 49mm. On this leather strap it weighs 88 grams. Now whilst the lug to lug is quite long, the lugs are well shaped, allowing the watch to fit well to the back of the wrist. And there's the case. It's nothing special, in actual fact it's a tad disappointing, but it does a job. And this is my watch of the day. It's the Nodos Sector. It's a 38mm field watch with an NH35 movement. Now I've done a review on this, so why not consider having a look at it. Now the watch has got two crowns, one to operate the movement and the other to allow bezel operation. I'll come to the bezel crown shortly. The crown that operates the movement is signed with a crosshatch and it's about 8mm, screws down and operates the movement perfectly. It engages well and it's buttery smooth. The knurling is excellent and you know you're handling a quality watch as soon as you hand wind this timepiece. Now the watch has got a very impressive 200-metre water resistance rating, which is almost overkill for a pilot watch. Now inside is the GL224 high beat movement, which is basically a dressed up ETA 2824-2. It's an excellent Swiss calibre that ticks away at 28,800 beats per hour. It hacks, it hand winds, and if regulated correctly can be extremely accurate. The power reserve is about 38 hours and these movements can be found in watches costing several thousands of pounds, albeit they are available in different grades. It's not stated what grade this actually is, but I suspect it's an elaborate version. These calibers have excellent positional variance, which in turn makes them better than something like an NH35 or even a Miyota 9000 series. Now let's have a look to see what the time grapher thinks of it. Now this was running a little bit fast when I first got this, but I regulated it, which is very easy on this particular movement, and I can tell you over a period of 3 days it only gained 5 seconds. As you can see, it reads at +1 second a day, a good amplitude although the watch isn't fully round, and a respectable beat error. The sapphire crystal is domed and some evidence of some AR coating on the underside. Now the case is solely polished and the sides are nicely rounded, which helps give the watch an even slimmer appearance. The drill gloves are quite long, but this is very much a part of the design. Now it's got a screw down exhibition back, which is also made of sapphire, and there's some basic information engraved around the sides. Now moving on to this lower crown. As you can see, it unscrews very nicely and you can set a second time zone. And that movement, again, is buttery smooth. I don't think I've ever seen this design of bezel on another watch. I believe this particular model came in two colours, either the black or this black to blue. I would have liked a cream in a 38mm case if I'm honest, but it's never actually been a choice. Needless to say, this has got the traditional 12-hour dial, unlike most Airmans which have got the 24-hour dial. Each index simply is numbered and below that is a square lume marker. Below the square lume marker is the minute indexes. At the top under the 12 is the Glycine logo and it reads Glycine Airman. In red at the bottom it reads double 12. Whilst a painted dial, all the indices and numbers are applied to an incredibly high standard and they're as crisp as a crispy thing. The candle style hands are filled with lume, and whilst the C3 lume is reasonable, it isn't the best I've seen. The initial burst is pretty good, but the degradation not so. Let's have a look at that lume. Now this watch actually arrived with 3 straps, the one that's on it, which I'll come to in a minute, and these 2 additional ones. Now I don't think these are supplied by Glycine, but they're very nice anyway. It's a nice thick brown leather. No, quite a nice quality black NATO. Anyway, I don't think I'll be wearing those. This is the one that came with the watch. As you can see, it's quite a thick leather, and it actually starts off thick and gets thinner. It's extremely comfortable, and whilst quite thick, it's extremely soft. It's got this nice blue mottling and white stitching. Unfortunately, it doesn't have quick release pins, but that really is a lovely strap. So price and value for money. Well, having had a look around, these cost between £950 and £1,450. Convert that to dollars if you will. I accept that isn't cheap, but you're getting a well-made Swiss watch with an excellent movement from a company with great heritage. In my opinion, this watch sits way above that of an entry-level Swiss watch, and the quality is closer to a luxury brand. I'll leave it up to you whether or not you think this is good value for money. For what it's worth, I picked this one up for about 1/3 of the full price, but perhaps I was lucky. Now, being a watch that's a few years old means that it's pointless me telling you about any QC issues, especially as I couldn't find any anyway. So do I have any dislikes? It would be easy for me to moan about the long lugs, but these are integral to the design, so it'd be silly for me to even mention it. Whoops, I just did. It's worth noting though, if you've got very small wrists, it may not be the best watch in the world for you, but I would say 6.5 inches and above and you'll be fine. I'm not sure about the font at the 1212, as I feel it's a tad large, although I do like the splash of red. So what do I like? Well, just about everything else. I think the dial layout is superb. I simply love that large crown and the way it operates. The case shape is great, and the excellent movement. Oh, and that strap, that's fantastic as well. So in summary, I don't pretend this is a cheap watch, and I'm surprised I haven't come up against a homage of it yet. The quality is absolutely outstanding, the design unique, and a watch any owner would be proud to own. Seriously, if you're considering one of these, I don't think you'll be disappointed if you invest. Now that brings me to the end of this review. If you've enjoyed it, please click on the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments below and enjoy the rest of your day.